Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. What is going on? It is Monday, start to a new week, May 20th. It's 7:25 in the morning on the East Coast. Early morning, you might say, but we did the NBA video today at 6:30. That bad boy's uploading. So if you've been playing both sports, 2 videos are coming your way. So I'm excited. It's the start of the week. Coffee, big old guy, I don't know if you can see this with the green screen, is in me right now, and we're ready to go. Happy to get started on this week. Happy to be productive this week. I hope you guys and girls are also going to be productive, whether you're starting your job today at whatever time, whether you're starting a new hobby, new career, anything. Make it a good week. Monday is probably my favorite, if not second favorite day of the week. Yes, I might be crazy, but I love it. Good start to the week. Way to be refreshed, ready to go. So welcome to the channel if you're new here. Blah, what did I just say? Welcome to the channel if you are new here. And if you are new, there's a good chance that, well, one, there's a good chance that you are new because I've been not doing MLB videos for a while now. It's just been a few of them, but we're going to be doing these more consistently throughout. Now that MLB is coming to an end, golf videos will still come out. WNBA, when that comes out though, we might be getting a one-off thing. But right now we're putting out 2 videos a day. I'm excited about it. It's just me, a one-man show. Hit me with a like button if you're a returning subscriber. If you're new here, I hope you get a lot of value. And if you get a lot of value from this, it's all free. Just subscribe. It helps me out. Hit the notification bell, whether you're a returning subscriber or not. It does help me out. The ways in which it helps me out, more subscribers we get, more advertisers that are like, oh, this guy has a good following. They trust him. They like his content. Let's pay this man money to just say something for 20 seconds. You guys don't get any downsides from that. I get some benefits from that. You get the information for free. We all win, right? So thank you so much. That's the thing behind it that everybody wants to say. So there it is, the honest truth. So thank you so much. Let's get into this slate though. So MLB, I have been playing a little bit now, and I guess I'll ask, you know what, let's ask a question to get people going in the comments section. We got a question for $10 PayPal over on the NBA video. You can comment who you think is going to be the captain, not in the 10K range. Today, let's ask a question for MLB. Let's just ask, who do you think is going to be the highest scoring pitcher in the $8,000 range? There's a good amount of pitchers in that range. That's why I picked it. There's like 5 or 6. Who do you think will be the highest scoring pitcher in the 8K range? Let me know that down below. I'm curious to see what you're going to say. So getting into this slate, I've been playing MLB, and yesterday I was extremely upset with my decisions. I did not listen to myself, one, and I second guessed myself, which seems like it's been hurting me way more than it hasn't, or benefited me in the MLB. Had Shane Bieber in all day with Noah Syndergaard, had value bats. The Cleveland bats were cheap and they went off for 10 runs. So some of that kind of stinks because I went off of Shane Bieber, guy who throws a complete game shutout, to get to Brandon Woodruff, who played decent, right? 20-something fantasy points, but nowhere near 56 that Shane Bieber dropped. So that stunk. And then the second thing, 5 minutes before lock, I did a pivot off of, I came off of Lindor, I came off of Nick Castellanos, and I came off of Grandel, and I got in there Vasquez, or the Red Sox catcher. I got in there Xander Bogaerts, and I got in there Chris Davis. I really just wanted to get Chris Davis in that high run total. Well, turns out that the other combo that I had in all day scores about 25 points more, and the pitcher that I had in all day scores about 35 points. So pretty much went from cashing very nicely in the 444 yesterday or the 555 yesterday, to not winning a single dime and losing all that money because of last second decisions. So pretty much what I'm saying is don't second guess yourself. Sometimes it'll work and pay off, but lots of the times it won't. Your normal research is the way to go. And the research that you feel confident in all day should not change 4 to 5 minutes before lock because you discover something else, unless you are convinced of it and you feel really good about it. I didn't feel really good about it, and I still did it. So with that being said, don't second guess yourself. Lesson learned. Let's get into this. So stat sheet, like I said, I'm trying to look at the stacks and help you guys out with those as well, and girls. But the stacks and Vegas odds, there's only about 3 games out right now. There's 8 games on the slate, and only 3 of them have Vegas odds. Like, I want to put the Vegas odds on this sheet right here, but everything's going to say NA for the most part. We have some Vegas odds, and I could kind of guess where some of the Vegas odds are going to be going based on the team, based on the matchup with the pitcher, things like that. But I can't tell you confidently. So I'll try and throw out some stack information. But we're going to be looking at the pitchers, and really 85% of baseball, or I guess DFS baseball, 75% of it's pitchers, 10% of it's finding the stack, 15% of it's knowing how to build a lineup, maybe a little bit more knowing how to build a lineup. But that all being said, pitchers is the way to go in terms of spending most of your research time. So this is just a quick dashboard, the key stats I look at, and then I'll break down into more of the pitch type data, how fast are they throwing their fastball, things like that if you're new here. That's kind of how I break down further in the day. If you guys want more information later in the day, around 5 or 6, or maybe closer to 5, about what I am really finding for this baseball slate after doing all my research, let me know, because I will somehow get a WordPress site launched, and I know a couple of people have reached out to help me with that. I have tried multiple times to get a blue hosting site with WordPress on it, and every single time something goes wrong. Plugins don't work. So if you're somebody who wants to help me out and not charge me $1,000+, then yeah, I would appreciate that help to get a WordPress site up. Just hit me up in the comments, hit me up with your email, whatever it might be. That would be awesome. So this slate, like I've been doing, I'm somebody who does not throw darts for pitchers. I do not want to have my entire bankroll riding on a $6,700 pitcher who rarely goes 6 innings, who rarely strikes guys out, who I'm hoping to get me 15 points, but realistically will get me single digits or negative numbers. So I don't put my money there, and I don't think you guys or girls should either. I pay up for pitchers. Whether that means I'm getting a $10,000 pitcher and a $9,000 pitcher, I'll find the $2,000 one or two bats to fit them in. I'm fine with that. The upside for the pitchers, like we saw yesterday, 56 points for a complete game shutout, albeit rare, albeit at this point in MLB where pitchers don't go deep into games, might happen once every few months, honestly, at this point, once a month at best. That's not going to be as secure. And the 56 is the ceiling, right? It's like a batter hitting 3 home runs in a game. But the 56 is just to signify that it's a little bit more projectable. The range of outcomes, 56 is the high end. But for a guy who's a good pitcher, like Patrick Corbin today, rarely, and sure, he can get blown up for 5 runs in the first inning, but rarely is he not going to get you your 20 points that you need out of him, especially since you get 4 points for that win upside. So although Patrick Corbin is not a guy that I have been super interested in compared to the other pitchers that we've had on these slates, and it's just because it's a different tier of pitcher. Corbin is right there in terms of being an excellent pitcher, but when we're talking about Jacob deGrom, Chris Sale, Justin Verlander, these guys who are priced up there in the same range as Patrick Corbin is today, well then yeah, they're automatically no-brainers for me. Now Chris Sale yesterday, not against Houston, I wasn't on, but the start before that when he goes for 40 points, I liked him, although I ended up fading him, and it hurt me. But Patrick Corbin is the clear pay-up spot. He's the clear guy to rely on today. Not only has he been great on the year, he gets a spectacular matchup today. So it's not even that his stuff is just good. He's dominant against lefties. Neither side of the plate has a ton of power against him. His hard hit percentage is down. His ground ball percentage is up. Fly ball percentage a little more than you like, but that's really not going to come into play that much today. He has the best matchup today in terms of park factor. I mean, also the Mets pitcher does too. Drew Gagnon or Gagnon, whatever his name is, they're playing each other in the same park. But playing this Mets team that's isolated power is down, and I mean they have power hitters on this team. Conforto out of the lineup, I believe he's still out. That doesn't help. And you're playing in New York in Citi Field, which this is not a hitter-friendly ballpark by any means. It's the best matchup on the slate in terms of just park factor. Patrick Corbin will be in it. He's a guy who doesn't give up a ton of ISO in the first place, and now he doesn't have to worry about that. He's a guy who strikes out a lot of batters, and the Mets strike out the second or third most on this slate. So yeah, Patrick Corbin makes a ton of sense today. Look, when the game tips off and everything's ready to go, tips off. When first pitch is thrown and the game is going, if Patrick Corbin doesn't pitch well, that's just an outlier. So don't think that you messed up. You made the right decision. I think playing Patrick Corbin today makes sense, especially when you take into account there's nobody else in his tier. There's nobody else. Mike Minor at $9,700 is the next closest guy, $1,200 difference on DraftKings. He's not in the same tier as Patrick Corbin today. He's not even close. There's really nobody that I could even recommend with the same conviction today. When I try and look for starting pitcher twos, there's a few guys that stand out, but none that I'm really dying to play. The only guy on the slate that I feel confident in going to is Patrick Corbin. So although he's the most expensive, it might seem obvious, it's pretty easy for me. He's a guy who has the second best SIERA on the slate, maybe the third best SIERA on the slate. That's good. SIERA pretty much is just a better indicator than ERA. So although his ERA is low, so is his SIERA. That's really good. It means that his pitching is actually what it seems. He's not getting lucky like some other guys that I'll talk about on this slate. His walk percentage right around average, home run percentage right around average. But things like we're talking about, the power that we're talking about against him, his isolated power against, it's average, right? In terms of this slate, nobody's really crushing him. He's not giving up no home runs or no power, no extra base hits. But when you take into account this Mets lineup, no Michael Conforto, no actual power hitters when you take into account the park factor they're playing in this field, and a lot of strikeout upside here, yeah, I like Patrick Corbin. I don't have to beat the dead horse. He's incredible. So when you're looking about punting players, or when you're considering punting players, you look down to the cheapest end possible. Today is probably one of the worst slates possible to play a cheapest end pitcher. Cheapest end, is that a word? Let's put it in the dictionary. Define, patent, salvatry, trademark, whatever you want to say. But anyways, who do you like down here? I'm tempted. I don't think I like anybody below $8,000. I don't even know if I can give you a recommendation below $7,000. If you want me to give you a recommendation below $8,000, I guess it's Jake Arrieta. But I don't know where to go. Let's look through these names, honestly. Below the $8,000 range, Jake Arrieta, no interest for me there. Not against the Cubs. No interest there for me. I mean, the ground ball rate is up. The guy's just not striking out anybody now, and he's going up against a team who has a ton of power and doesn't strike out. That's not something I want to pay $7,800 for. Andrew Suarez, a guy who, there's two guys on this slate. You're going to see a lot of white numbers here if you're looking over my shoulder, or for me, in front of me, and that's because they're making their first start. We don't have data. I could use data from last year, but I don't want to do that right now. So I don't think it's going to help as much. You get a guy playing, in San Francisco, so decent park factor, but he's going up against Atlanta. It's his first start of the year. It's not a guy that I want to pay $7,800 for. It's a decent GPP play because, he's making his first start of the year. That doesn't mean he sucks, right? Doesn't mean he's terrible. He could have changed some things. So I think it's fine. He didn't make the rotation in the beginning of the year, so that indicates some things that he's not the best pitcher in the world. So $7,800 GPP option, sure, but I'm not getting there. Not against Atlanta. Drew Gagnon against Washington, this Mets team that is not favored that much. Again, he's another guy you could throw your dart on if you really want to. He doesn't walk guys. He doesn't give up a lot of hard hit balls. He has, going up against this Washington team that strikes out a lot of guys in a good ballpark. So if you told me to tell me the one guy below 7K, I can't tell you one. But at 7,100, I think that Drew Gagnon is the guy that I would go towards. But here's the thing. If you're playing Patrick Corbin, how are you going to play Drew? You can't play the guys facing each other, at least on a bigger slate, right? You're automatically giving up 4 points. You can't have both your guys getting the win. So your upside is lower. Then you're automatically rooting for both guys to not give up any runs, which would mean that they're tied, and now you have no 4-point win from either team, right? That's ideally what would happen. They throw a bunch of strikeouts. Maybe one gets the win. I just don't like limiting my upside there. And again, not a spectacular pitcher in this range. And then everybody else is just terrible. Mike Leach, he's projected right now to give up over 6 runs in this game. Texas, although not all the odds are out, projected for 6.1 runs. That's terrible. Andrew Kashner gets his opening day, same matchup against these same Yankees, a team that doesn't strike out, a team that has a lot of ISO. In a hitter's-friendly ballpark in Baltimore. Not a guy that I ever want to pitch. Or Andrew Kastner is a terrible pitcher. Ross Detwiler, don't know his name. Detroitweiler. No, that's not his name. No, okay, let's keep going. Going up against Houston Astros in his first start. Again, a guy who is in a brutal matchup. Team doesn't strike out. Awful park factor in Houston for him. Yeah, don't play this guy. Taylor Cole, who knows if he'll even go 2 innings. Don't play that guy. So the options, there's none. There's really none. Below $8,000. You can throw your dart if you're not playing Patrick Corbin. I don't think you should play the same pitcher from each game with this Drew guy, but I don't want either of them. I think that I start in terms of the lowest I'd go with J.A. Happ, a guy who has not been pitching well this year, a guy who's Sierra at 4.6. At least it shows that he's not getting lucky. His ERA is showing that he's been bad. 4.4 runs, 4.44 ERA, but a 4.6 Sierra. It's pretty consistent. He hasn't been getting unlucky, he hasn't been getting lucky, so that's not great. $8,000 is a lot to spend. A guy who's not pitching a lot, but he's giving up too many home runs. He does go up against a team today that doesn't have a lot of power. It's pretty much Trey Mancini leading off. Chris Davis, if he's going to get in this lineup to hit a home run, but I don't know if that's going to happen today. And a team that just doesn't strike out. So you're getting J.A. Happ, who has no strikeout stuff. You're going to play $8,000 for. In baseball, the things that you need from your pitcher is a guy who's going to go deep into games. J.A. Happ has not been doing that. A guy who's going to strike guys out. J.A. Happ has not been doing that. A guy who is not going to give up home runs. J.A. Happ has been giving up home runs. You lose even more points for that. So just not a guy who's interesting to me. Overall, yes, he's playing Baltimore. Baltimore has been decent this year, so you can throw your dart at $8,000. But I think there's just better options if you wanted to spend a little more money. So this is where I'm starting to just get a little confused as to where I go for SP2. Patrick Corbin is by far and away my number one option, but where do I go for SP2? Mike Soroka is a guy who stands out in terms of just being safe, but he's similar to J.A. Happ in some regards. He's not giving up home runs, so that's a spot that he's not. He hasn't given up a home run this year. He's not giving up tons of fly balls. He's giving up low ground balls. His hard hit percentage is down. All those things are spectacular, right? You like it. He's keeping the ball on the ground. They're not hitting deep balls on him. Now he's going to be going up against a team in the Giants who, a good park factor in San Francisco. The weather might be warmer, so that might hurt a little bit, but it's still windy there. And they don't hit home runs, but they also don't strike out. So what you're getting out of Mike Soroka at $9,200 is a pitcher who is safe. That's a lot of money to spend for a pitcher who is safe, for a pitcher who is realistically could go 7 innings today, but is he going to get a lot of strikeouts? Probably not. He's not going to give up home runs, though, or at least he hasn't yet. He doesn't give up a ton of power, and now he's pitching against a team that just doesn't have that power. So at 9,200, there's not a lot of upside here. There's not a lot of, okay, he is going to get 6 or 7 strikeouts today. But on a slate like this, you kind of like, all right, I'll take it. Again, there's not a lot on this slate. Patrick Corbin and Mike Soroka might be a popular combination today, but I think it's a decent one. The next guy down, Brad Peacock, I think it's okay. A lot of things just don't stand out as great. He's giving up a lot of power to lefties, this Chicago team. I don't know how many they're going to have in their lineup today. I don't imagine a lot. The opponent, though, overall striking out a good amount. He's not striking out a ton of batters. He strikes out more righties, so again, that's good. Most lineups will have a lot of righties in it. You can go to Brad Peacock. I'd rather take the safer route with a Mike Soroka. There's just not a lot of things to like. If you want to go pure upside, you have to go Darvish, in my opinion. He's $8,600. He is one of the 3 players that I'm considering right now to pair along with Patrick Corbin. The other guys are Mike Soroka, like I said, and potentially a Jake really Jake Odorizzi or J.A. Happ. Whoever I think would end up, after I break down into the numbers, looking a little bit better. Because Jake Odorizzi on the surface looks a little bit better than J.A. Happ. But really, they are similar when you break down into their overall isolated numbers, taking into account lucky situations, neutral situations. But Yu Darvish, a guy who has been terrible in the year, his Sierra suggests, that truck really going to pass by that fast? So rude. That happened in the NBA video, too. So rude. Yu Darvish, lots of things look terrible here. The matchup is terrible. He's walking way too many guys. He's giving up home runs. But surprisingly enough, he's not giving up a lot of hard hit percentage. His ground ball percentage is down. His fly ball rate is down. Just when batters make contact, they're putting it out of the park. He has one of the higher strikeout percentages on this slate, around 28% on average. He's giving up power to both sides of the plate. He faces a team today that has decent average power, nothing spectacular, doesn't strike out a bunch, and he has a little bit of a park factor against Philly. Look, if Yu Darvish can find his way through the middle of this lineup today, through the Bryce Harpers, through the Rhys Hoskins, through the middle of this lineup, he could be in for a decent start. And here's the thing. We're not talking about, is he a great pitcher? He has not been great this year. We're talking about guys who can get you upside in fantasy. There's not a lot of guys on this slate who have the ability to get 6 or 7 Ks today. Yu Darvish is one of them. If Yu Darvish gives up 3 runs and can go out there and get a 7 or 8 K day, it's kind of okay on this slate at that price point. I am a little bit confused at the time is now 7:41 in the morning on where I want to go with my starting pitcher too. Usually I have a couple of guys I'm like, okay, like yesterday, Shane Bieber I liked, and a few other guys. Brad Woodruff was okay. Today it's Patrick Corbin and it's a bunch of other guys. It's Patrick Corbin, it's dumpster trash at the bottom of the slate below 8K. And then it's maybe I like J.A. Happ and Yu Darvish in the midsection, but nothing screaming out for either of them. And then, okay, Mike Soroka is safe, but the upside's not there. You might be saying, Sal, you didn't say anything about Mike Minor. I don't like the idea that Seattle is favored for above 5 implied runs today. And I don't like the idea that Mike Minor's ERA is a 2.61 when his Sierra is a 4.6. And that's something to point out for Mike Soroka as well. He's not giving up a lot of power, but he is getting lucky. His ERA is under 1, 0.98, but his Sierra indicates that he should be giving up more runs a game, around 4.21. Sierra is going to be closer to that 4 number for most pitchers anyways. But that's showing that he's getting extremely lucky. I think that luckiness factor, if you want to call it that, continues to stay up in a ballpark against a team that favors pitchers and does not give up, and a team that does just not give up a lot of power and does not score a ton of runs in San Francisco. So I guess the pitchers that I really haven't hit on, Luke Weaver, Jake Odorizzi, they're really not guys who stand out. Chris Paddock, again, $9,500 is nice for Chris Paddock, a guy who does have nice strikeout stuff. Again, a guy who is not giving it up to righties, which most guys in the lineup will be righties. If you want to take apart or pick apart on Chris Paddock today and kind of take advantage of him, get some lefties from Arizona in there. He's giving up a lot of power to them. Arizona overall, a nice team for power. They don't strike out a lot. So another matchup that doesn't scream great stuff for Chris Paddock. So, yes, I am a bit confused on where to go for my SP2. The thing that is nice, though, there is only one super expensive pitcher on today's slate, Patrick Corbin. Outside of that, it's kind of easy to fit anything you really want in this 9K range for pitchers, 8K range. I'm going to have to break down into the numbers. If you're interested in seeing who I get to, 2 or 3 guys for SP2s later in the day, let me know. That could be something that I start to put on a website, writing some articles later in the day, things like that. And again, if you're somebody who knows WordPress, and I want WordPress, Wix sucks. Those sites suck. I've tried to use them. WordPress. If you're somebody who can help me with that, let me know down below. So yeah, it's Patrick Corbin and it's a bunch of other dudes for me on this slate. Guys that I can point out with some confidence, although not a ton. Mike Soroka, in terms of being safe, a lot of things, the matchup, the ballpark, his consistency stand out. The upside, not as much there. But as long as he's getting deep into games and not giving it up, that's fine for me. If he can get me a couple strikeouts, okay. So right now, that's where I lean as my SP2. You can talk me into some of these riskier options in GPPs, like Yu Darvish, like J.A. Happ, maybe even a Brad Peacock, but I'm not loving it. So that's where I'm at. Hope it helps. This is the baseball breakdown. If you want this sheet, let me know. I'll throw it in the Discord. Drop down in the comments below. Let me know if you know WordPress. My name's Sal. Best of luck today, everybody. Peace out, gang. Start your week off right. Let's get it.